In the last video, I shared my thoughts on Hacktoberfest and why I think you should participate in Hacktoberfest, and I also gave you a bunch of resources to get started with Hacktoberfest. But I also want to present a balanced perspective and share reasons why I think somebody might not want to participate in Hacktoberfest or contribute to open source projects in general. Here's the truth about open source projects. Contributing to open source projects is work, like actual work. It's like joining a new company, getting to know the product, the people, the code base, setting up a new environment, and then learning new tools. And it's work not only for the contributors, but even more for the maintainers of the project. They have to write the code, write the docs, and keep improving the project, mostly on their own time. And they also have to keep training and mentoring new contributors. It's a lot of actual work for a lot of people. And not everyone has the bandwidth or the mental state or even the desire to do more work in your off work hours. And that's totally okay. Our current hustle culture feeds into this frenzy of more, which is incredibly stressful. But it's totally okay not to want to do more work in your free time. So how do you decide if contributing to an open source project is the right thing for you? Here are my recommendations to answer the question for yourself. Before you start contributing to open source projects, I urge you to take a moment and think about why you want to contribute. What's your goal here? Do you want to get started with open source contributions? Do you want to get more experience with a particular technology? Or do you want to learn a completely new technology? Do you want to build a portfolio? Or do you just want to help make your favorite open source project even better? Setting your goal up front will help you keep motivated when you inevitably hit the rough patches on your open source journey. Once you set your goal, think about how much time and effort you can allot to the project without hurting your mental health and work-life balance. Then take stock of your current experience and skill set. Are you a beginner, an intermediate professional, or an advanced professional? This will help you identify the right project for you. Which brings us to the next point. Things to look for in a project. I recommend that you look for clear documentation, communication channels, or a community forum. Think about whether you like the technology, whether you find it interesting. Also think about if you can contribute to the project without requiring personal attention from the maintainers. And the final question to answer is, are you willing to self-learn and to accept and work on feedback? As I mentioned earlier, open source projects are work not just for the contributors, but even more so for the maintainers. Most open source maintainers already have full-time jobs and then they work on their open source projects in their free time. So if you want to contribute to their project, please be respectful of their time and their bandwidth. The best way to honor their time and bandwidth is to self-study and self-learn, try things out by yourself, Google stuff as much as you can, and then go to the maintainers with well-researched, pointed questions. I guarantee that you will get a better response if you can show that you have done your homework and you have tried things out instead of just going with uninformed, open-ended questions. Then when you make a pull request, if the maintainer gives you feedback and asks you to revise your contribution, know that it's a good thing. My grad school professor once told me something that has stuck with me ever since. She said that when somebody gives you feedback, it's a sign that they care. It's very easy for people to just give the looks good to me remark and move on and merge your PR. But if they took the time to go through your contribution and see how you could make it better, that's a sign that they genuinely care about your work and they want to help you get better and make your work stronger. Also, you have to remember that your contribution is going to end up in their end product. So they get the final say of how they want their product to be. So if you have answered these questions and still want to contribute to open source projects, then join us for Hacktoberfest. If not, take care of your mental health and have a good work-life balance, and I'll see you elsewhere on the internet.